Hello, I'm here to show you how to create citations in NoodleTools. So the first thing you have to do when you come into NoodleTools, once you're logged in, is you need to create your project. And up on the top left-hand side, you'll see this plus sign button. When I click on that, I will create my new project. And I'm going to create a project about Abraham Lincoln. So I'm going to type Lincoln in here for the title of my project. I need to choose a citation style. If I don't know what style I'm supposed to use, choose MLA because that's our standard for our district. If your teacher tells you later that it should be something else, APA or something else, you can change it later and it won't cause any problems. You'll also need to choose your citation level. If you're in elementary school, we recommend that you choose starter because it has less choices for types of citations, which makes it a little less confusing. If you're at middle school, choose junior because then you get a few more choices. If you're in high school, college, or in graduate level courses, choose advanced because then you get all of the 70 plus styles that they have available. So this is a central account, so I'm going to choose starter. And it will create my project for me. Takes me right into the dashboard of my project. If I click on projects back here, you'll see a listing of all of my projects that I've created. So I have a Dolphins one created in here, and I have this Lincoln one created here. And it says that my Lincoln one is open right now. So if I hit dashboard, I go back to my open project, and you can see that if you have a direction that your teacher has given you for the project, you are able to put a research question right in here. You're also able to write a thesis statement or a main claim or an hypothesis if you have a project that you have one of those for. There's this really handy hyperlink here. If you know that you're going to be writing a paper for this project at some point, you can go ahead and click here and it will create a Google Doc in your Google Drive with the same title as your project. So here, the title of my project was Lincoln. The title of my paper now is Lincoln, and this is in my Google Drive. So down here under sharing, if your teacher has created a project inbox, that's what they're called, for your specific project, maybe this is a president research project that you're doing for class, and maybe your teacher has created an inbox called President Projects. You can click on this and you can type in presidents, and if a project inbox has been created by your teacher, it will show up as you start typing it. If you want to add a student collaborator, you can add a collaborator here. You can enter the student's name or first and last name or their email address from school. And then over on the end here, you can choose to make that student a full collaborator. So if you're doing a joint project with someone, you would choose full collaborator, or you can make that person just a peer reviewer. If you're just asking someone to look over your note cards and your citations to make sure that you have everything that you need, you can make that person just a peer reviewer and they can just look over things, but they aren't actually able to make changes to your project. They can offer you suggestions. When you're done, you can click done. And then we'll go to sources. So up at the top again, next to dashboard, if you click on sources, this is where you actually make your citations. So top left-hand corner, you can click on create new citation, and you'll see that I don't have a ton of choices here. That's because I chose the beginning level, which is very nice here. So The first thing that I'm going to cite is this book. I actually have a book on Abraham Lincoln here, and I'm going to choose this to cite. So this is print in hand. What kind of print in hand is it? It's not a magazine, it's a book, so I'm going to choose book. And there's a couple ways that I can put this information in. The first way is just I can actually fill in all this information by myself. So I do see what the title of the book is. If I open it up, all of my books will have this information for me. On my title page, I can find the authors and the illustrators, and I can find where it was printed and put down my publication city. I can find out the publisher and the year in here too. Or sometimes we get lucky, and if you look up at the top here, it says ISBN, and on the back side of books, there's a barcode, and underneath it is an ISBN number. Sometimes you can get lucky, and the ISBN number that's on the back of your book will pull your book information into NoodleTools for you. So I'm going to try this. Okay, let's see if I got all the numbers correct. And it pulls up Lincoln and Illustrated Biography, and the contributors are correct. So this is my book. So if I choose, let's see, I highlighted this. Sometimes when I pull it in, there might be multiple books that come in down here, and I might need to choose a book out of several choices. This one is only giving me one choice. Down at the bottom, I can retrieve cover images, which I don't need for this project. And I can import the selected source, or I can cancel it. If this is not the correct book, I would cancel it. So I'm going to hit import, and it pulls in as much information as it can. And it's asking me to fill in any additional information if I'm able to. And I do know what state this came from. I'm going to put the state in. And it looks like everything else is correct. I can cancel it if I decide I'm not going to use it, or I can hit continue. And I can look it over here. It looks like everything is filled in. This is wonderful. I can save it, or I can save it and I can add an annotation, which is a note explaining what this resource was. I'm going to just save it right now. I can always add an annotation later. And you can see that it's just taking a little while, and then it will show up. While it's doing that work, I will also want to show you that if you're using any of our databases, so I did a research, or I searched for Abraham Lincoln in here. And pulled up an article. And if I decide to use information from this, I need to cite it. So over on the right-hand side, you can see the little check. That gives a citation, and I can choose what type. So I can choose APA or something else. Remember, I chose MLA for this. So because I did that, I'm going to highlight this whole piece here, and I'm going to hit Control-C to copy. I'll go back into NoodleTools, and there's my book. I'm going to hit Create Citation here. This was a database. And look it up here, right at the top next to my ISBN. It says copy and paste a citation. I can actually hit Control V and paste my citation right in there. All of my information is there, so I don't need to do anything else. Again, here, I can just save, or I can save and add an annotation. I'm going to just save, and it shows up in my resources here. That's how you make citations, and it's pretty easy usually. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of searching to find your information. If you use any of our databases provided by the school district of Rhinelander, you will be able to copy and paste your citations right from your source. In fact, Cite does that, World Almanac, World Book for Kids, and I was in Britannica. So go ahead and use these resources and it'll make it much more simple for you. And back here you can see, here's my Lincoln project. I have 2 sources, so it keeps track of all of this for me, and it tells me my levels. Again, if I need to make any changes, go to this options at the end. I can rename it. If I decide that I don't want to have just Lincoln, I want to have Abraham Lincoln, I can change it. I can change my level. I can change the style. If my teacher tells me that it should be APA and not MLA, I can change that here, or I can delete it. If my partner already started this and my partner is inviting me to join his or her project, I can delete the one that I've created. That's all. I hope that helped.